single-family. The requirements of the R6. It's not, and like I said, a horrible piece of property that the only way to develop it is to divide it and hack it up into three pieces of property and making it look terrible. I think it's no problem right now to develop it, but if you divide it into three lots, it would be. I present safety problems, junkie problems, and I would urge you to vote against it. Thanks. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, ma'am, I missed your, where's your property in relationship to this proposal?
Across the street. I own 215 and also 205, which is next door.
Thank you. Thank you. Austin, could you address a couple of things? First of all, this proposal, do the houses have planned for driveways?
They have a driveway that'll hold 2 cars.
Okay. That doesn't keep them from parking on the street, but
correct.
They have a driveway. Could you also talk about code compliance with any outside deposit of personal property that she's concerned with?
Right, so any items that is not geared to be stored outside, such as boxes, cardboard, totes, really any other debris is something that we routinely enforce in our planning and zoning department. So that's something that we will continue to monitor. With regards to the density, looking at the width of the lot, being that this is a corner lot, along Ash Street, so at 201, 205, and 215 Ash Street, what you'll find by splitting this parcel into 3, it'll have the same lot width as directly across the street, or very similar in terms of depth. Really, the biggest variation for this DRO would be the smaller rear yard, is really what we're looking at.
Well, and the front yard setback.
And the front yard setback.
But I note that the front yard setback for the zoning district is 25 feet. This proposed is 5 foot, but when the average block's taken into consideration, that's about 9 feet.
Correct.
Okay. Any other comments for this matter? Please come forward. Name and address, please.
Robert Waduli. I own 2 and 6 North Market Street on the square there. I live out of town. I live in Salt Lake City. I am the developer of that parcel, and it's not a huge profitable project. Just to kind of address that, I'm really trying to go for to solve a little bit of the workforce and affordable housing situation going on with especially new construction, to really provide a quality product that is offered for sale. And so by keeping these price points at around $250,000, I think it provides a unique opportunity for someone who doesn't make a ton of money, relatively speaking, to own a home and start the process there. I really don't plan on making tons of money on this project. It's actually going to be really hard to make work numbers-wise as it is. And in terms of the density and setbacks, they do line up with the houses across the street, and the setbacks were based on the houses across the street setbacks. So it actually matches. As you look down the street, they'll have equivalent setbacks as the houses across the street, instead of having one be 25 feet and one be 9 feet right across the street there. So it kind of completes the Ash as you move. I think it's south or north in that direction. But yeah, it's a project that's meant to try to get housing option, or to provide a housing option for folks who might not be able to afford the $400,000 houses that are in most of the suburbs around here. So. Okay,
I have a question.
Yeah.
And if this is too personal, you let me know, because
Sure.
I really don't need to know this.
Yep. No, I want to be open. Yeah.
How did a guy from Salt Lake City get to?
I don't know if we have enough time for me to get into why I chose Troy, but long story short, my wife's in the Air Force, and so we were supposed to be in Wright-Patterson Air Force Base about 3 years ago, but the last second they changed the station to a base just east of St. Louis. But we drove through, and we love old town squares and totally fell in love with the downtown. And having been all over the country at so many different places, what Troy has, is so unique and so special, in that the whole downtown square is intact, and still housing and prices are affordable relative to what you'd pay. Where we were in San Antonio, I'm in Salt Lake City now. We're going to be in California probably in a year. I just wanted to pick one place that made a lot of sense, and Troy was that place. And I I've seen so many places, and this is my favorite place on the planet, no joke. We bought the Agave and Rye building there 3 years ago, and that was a big project. We were going to live on the second floor, but then when our orders got swapped, we just decided to use it as an investment property, and so we kept it and leased it out. So I've made trips back and forth for the past few years. Now it's more challenging as we live in Salt Lake City, but I was 5 hours away in Illinois, and just really committed to the city. I want to. It's tough moving around to really start things up all the time because you have to meet people, you have to get to know people in town, and that takes a lot of work. And so I wanted to commit to one place. We're long-term Air Force. My wife owes 12 years yet, so we'll be around for quite some time. But wanted to really pour into one place and chose Troy. So bit of an outsider, but I love the town. Can't say enough about it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions you have?
Yeah. I do have a question.
Sure.
You're showing a 7% interest rate. Will you be financing this?
No. These will be for sale, so whoever buys them would be looking for third-party financing. However, you'd go find a mortgage traditionally.
Well, the way interest rates are, I don't know if the Fed added another 0.5% today.
And so that was another reason why I felt like getting to the price point that I'm at is really important, because the cost of ownership now has literally gone up twice since probably 7 months ago when rates were around 3%. The cost of having a mortgage and carrying a home literally is twice as expensive now. So by keeping that price lower, you can really try to control the prices a little more than if it's a $400,000 or $500,000 house. That 7% interest rate makes a big difference in that monthly payment. So I wanted to keep this monthly payment in line with Troy's area median income, and that's what it does. So technically, by HUD's definition, it is affordable housing, but I don't want it to have that connotation because sometimes that gives people the wrong thought. This is quality housing that I want to provide for people who really are looking to make that next step but don't have that current option.
Any other questions of the applicant? Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. If you want to come forward again.
$250,000 house.
Excuse me, ma'am. You'll need to come up here to ask the question, please.
What are you thinking for the value of each of the houses?
So should I? Yeah.
Okay. The answer to the question is he's looking at a price point of $250,000. That's what he tested.
Per house?
Per house. That's correct.
That's crazy.
Okay. Is that all of your comments then, ma'am?
Yeah, I mean, in that older neighborhood, like like I just built a brand new house, the 215, and when realtors and all that they print out, even though you might have paid that much for it, they're pricing it like at $140,000, and you're not going to get. I don't think no one is going to. I would not pay $250,000 for a small house with no lot on it. I think that's.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
I think that's.
Any other comments come before the public hearing today? I will note that one of the things that had bothered me is the amount of the rear yard. But I will note that Lincoln Center is down the street for work, if you wanted to work out and things of that nature. And also we have a public park. Being represented the park board, I want to tout the fact that we have the McCabe Race Park just down on the other block. So that's good. Okay. This ends the public session. If there are no other comments. All right. Now we need to go ahead and provide a recommendation to City Council concerning the issue.
I have a procedural question.
Go right ahead.
There are 4 of us here today.
Right.
Which means if there's not a unanimous affirmative vote, it fails. What is the recourse of the applicant if there's not a unanimous vote?
Do you want to address that?
No.
Austin, do you want to, Tim, you wanted to?
Recourse would be that he could resubmit a new plan, refile a new application. Obviously, if it doesn't go forward with a recommendation, I'm not sure, it doesn't go to council, so it would be dead by the committee at this point, and we'd be looking for a resubmittal or a new plan if he wants to move forward.
As an alternative, though, if there were some concerns, somebody could table it until the next meeting.
That's correct. That would be up to
It's called forum shopping.
the commission.
Attorneys do that all the time.
That's why I said no in the first place.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
before we vote
yes.
or have a motion, I have a comment.
Yeah, go
When
ahead.
this first came before us, I drove by to look at that lot.
Mhm.
I'm amazed that you put 3 houses on that lot.
Mhm.
And I'm surprised we're not hearing from other neighbors,
Mhm.
because I looked at the person whose, their backyard is going to back right onto their driveway and their side yard. I applaud affordable housing. I thought that was great that there would be homes that people can afford. But I thought it was awfully tight to squeeze, I'm not a builder, to squeeze 3 houses onto that one lot. And the other thing I wanted to address is there is no guarantee that people are going to buy these homes to live in them. At that price, it would be a very attractive buy and rental. And that's all I have to say about that.
Any other questions, matters for discussion? Okay, time for action. Committee want to propose a motion? This is another alternative. If there's no motion, it also fails.
I guess I'm perceiving some reservations here. And again, there are only 4 of us. So under the circumstances, I'm going to move that this be tabled until we have more members present.
And tabling that action would be in our January meeting?
Currently, we're scheduled for the 28th. That's not a decision we've made yet about postponing the meeting,
Okay.
or canceling, I guess, the meeting on December 28th.
Okay, I'm sorry. Parliamentary procedure says that you've got a motion to table, and there is no discussion, but is there support for the motion?
I'll support.
Okay, motion is support. Please call the roll.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mr. Cappers?
No. Okay, matter is tabled, and we'll hear it at the next meeting.
Wait a minute.
It's
It's not you.
Oh,
3-1.
Yes.
3-1. You got
Yes.
4-0.
well, so it's not tabled.
Uh-oh.
Well, I didn't want to table it because I wanted to vote on it today. But,
I think a person in the minority on a vote can ask for reconsideration.
what if I don't want to reconsider it?
Then I guess we sit here.
Okay, I would have asked that the vote on the last motion be reconsidered. Let's take the roll call vote again.
Do we need a second to the reconsideration motion?
Second.
Thank you. Okay. Mrs. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mr. Cappers?
Well, let's see. Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Motion is adopted. The item is tabled to the next meeting, which date yet is to be determined.
Gotcha. Okay. You guys get that? All right. Next item on the agenda is the Downtown Riverfront Overlay District application for 911 West Main Street. This is the first reading.
So this is for a 17.5 by 2.5 roof sign at the building located at 9 through 11 West Main Street. Really, the only provision of the code that this sign does not meet that led to this DRO request is that it extends above the roof line of the building. The code reads it's supposed to be integrated into the sign via asphalt, shingles, etc. So that's really the basis for the request. This is a replica of the sign that was there until the 1920 to 30s, based on my information. It will further improve the aesthetic character of the district and will add an additional dimension. It's going to be black with white lettering that's going to have a halo lighting effect. We've done this similar at the Troy Daily News building, where the light would hit the background of the sign and not shine through, so it's not internally illuminated. And that will conclude my report.
this is not a public hearing, but we're going to ask a couple questions. Number one, how is this going to be secured on the roof? I'm concerned with a standalone sign like this falling upon people down below.
Yeah, so it will be required to go through the building department to make sure it's appropriately installed. This here, who could probably chime in a little bit.
Sir, come forward if you would. Name and address be appropriate, please.
Andrew Circle, 320 East Main Street, Troy. So Austin's right. We would go through the county building department to do an engineered attachment to the roof structure. It's a wood frame roof, so we would add blocking, and then there'd be steel struts coming through the roof membrane and holding up the sign. So it'd be calced for wind loads, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Any questions of the architect while he's still up here? Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Okay. Anything else to add?
No, sir.
Any questions of staff? Okay, next time we meet, we'll have a public hearing on this issue. Are there any other matters to come from the commission today?
The next meeting day.
Yeah, any other matters for you guys? Not heard.
I handed out a draft of the design manual. So if you could take a look at this, we are going to be bringing it back on the agenda in January for a formal vote.
Do you have this in a Word format?
I do.
Can you email it out to everybody and you can make red line comments?
Certainly.
Like, why in the hell are you doing this? Why?
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Next meeting, December 28th, 2022. Do we have a problem with the quorum?
We do not know for sure if the mayor will be here.
I won't be here.
And you won't be here. And so there's two of you that are absent. Mr. McGarry, we had expected he would be here for the December meetings, but apparently there might be some issue since he recently had a medical procedure.
How about Mr. Westmeyer?
Mr. Westmeyer could make it, he said, as it stands now.
And so the deadline for any business being on the next agenda was today.
That's correct.
We did not receive anything.
The items we received are wanting to go in January. We had an application. He wanted to be here for it. Couldn't make the meeting on the 28th, so we had pushed that off till January.
Would he make the 28th?
He could not make the 28th.
Could not make the 28th, but we do still have the two DRO applications that we could deal with. Otherwise, David Coates, January 11th. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I've got a procedural question again. I think we addressed this a while back. But Planning Commission, I take it, is a continuing body, and items can continue from one year to the next. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, yeah.
Okay. It's not the state legislature.
Right.
Okay.
Just throwing this out there, you have two members that can't make it and a potential third. What happens if we have another meeting on the 28th and there's only 4 members?
Yeah.
Well, you can table things more than once.
You're right.
Okay.
Let me have you do this, though. That week of Christmas, I don't know that anybody wants to attend any meetings. Why don't you go back to the applicants of both items and see if they would voluntarily meet and have that portion of their application determined in January 11th. Is that appropriate?
I think we know that one would be okay with that. I'm not sure what the other is.
It'd be the DR.
That's fine.
Okay.
Would that be okay?
Okay.
Is it the one you know about, or is that
That was not the one.
Okay, so you know that both of them will. So, we're okay then on the 28th not having a meeting, and then the next meeting, and those two items that we discussed would be the 11th of January.
Do we need a motion to cancel the next meeting, or?
We can, just to have it.
Can we get 4
I don't want to start a practice that we don't have.
I'll move that we not meet on the 28th.
Okay, there we go. Is there support for that motion?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mr. Cappers?
Hell yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mrs. Early?
Yes.
Okay, motion is approved. The Planning Commission will not have another meeting yet this year. We will meet
January 11th.
And carry over the items on the agenda. And the people regarding the notification will be provided to the neighbors of the other DRO application of what
And
the
the public hearing
date.
will be for January 11th.
And yes, that is not,
Do we have to republish?
we don't publish it. We just.
But the matter was tabled tonight, so they have to be re-notified.
We already had the public
We
hearing.
had the public
so
hearing,
Okay,
We
good.
satisfied that part of it.
All right.
yes.
Anything else coming before the commission?
No, sir.
Sir, thank you for tabling that until January 11th. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy holidays.